Hello, everyone. I'm so glad that you are here and that we can get to read and together this afternoon or this evening, where whatever it is where you are, and that we can chat a little bit too. Hi, Libraries and Labradors. Nice to see you. It's still the morning for you. Yeah, that's great. Annika, hi. It's the evening for you there in the Netherlands. That's great. That's my mom-in-law. Hi, Joe. How are you? So yeah, let me know who's here. And I would also love to know what your plans are for these reading sprints. Are you going to read? Are you going to do something else productive? Pamela, hi. Greetings, everyone. I'll be sprinting with The Demon Awakens by R.A. Salvatore. Woo, that sounds like the perfect read for this time of year. Spooky and awesome. That's so great. I'm so glad you guys are here. I have some great books that I want to read this afternoon, and I went unexpectedly to the thrift stores and the used bookstore yesterday with my in-laws, and I've got a little stack of books here, and you guys are going to get the sneak peek of what I found at the bookstore. So let's see who else is here. Hi, Helen. Yay, I'm so glad that you're here. BJ, hi. Ooh, it's beautiful in Alabama. That's great. The temperature has taken a dive here. It is cool, but you know what? That's seasonally appropriate, so that's okay. Hi, Berna. Nice to see you here. Booking Through Life. Hi, Mary. Is reading Hide and Seek by Wilkie Collins. Yay, I love Wilkie Collins. Is that your first Wilkie Collins, Mary? I'm curious. I can't remember. We may have talked about that. But I love Wilkie Collins. And so one of the books that I will be reading is Poor Miss Finch. I love this book so far. It is hilarious. It's way funnier than I was expecting. And I have to be honest, it is the funniest Wilkie Collins that I have read yet. It is fantastic. Mom is reading The Chilbury Ladies Choir. Excellent. A little World War II historical fiction. Helen, it's cold and dark in the UK, so it's the perfect time to curl up with a blanket and a book and to read with some friends, right? Libraries and Labradors is reading Can You Forgive Her from by Trollope. Oh, from my recommendation. I loved that one. It's actually the first in the Palliser series. I'm a huge fan of Anthony Trollope, and Can You Forgive Her? I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good story. Berna is reading Helter Skelter, which is a true crime book about the Manson murders. Creepy. Oh my goodness, this is actually the perfect time of year, Berna, to read that, honestly. That was a crazy situation, that whole thing with the Manson family. Wow. Mary, it is your first Wilkie Collins, and it's wonderful. It has a deaf character, and he does a fabulous job representing a deaf character, a deaf person. Yes, you know what I found fascinating is Poor Miss Finch is about a blind person. Lucilla Finch is blind, and he represents her very well. I find that really interesting. Wilkie Collins also, he writes really good female characters, so I don't know, like, I don't know what that is, because quite often there's, it's debatable in Victorian time periods, but Wilkie Collins does a really good job representing people with disabilities and women, actually, in his books. Oh, Helen, you're reading Rebecca. I reread it most Octobers. October is the perfect month to read Rebecca. I am due for a reread, actually. I need to read that really soon. Annika says, I'm reading The Anatomy of Dreams, a little break from Victober because it has to go back to the library Monday. Is that fiction or nonfiction, Annika? That sounds interesting. BJ, I'm reading A Rare Interesting Corpses by Anne Granger and Darini Rising by Kurtz. A Rare Interesting Corpses is a Victorian historical mystery. I love that series. That's really fun. Yay. All right, let me show you what else I have to read as possibilities. I have number 2 in the Dinner and a Murder mystery series, Castle Deadly Castle Deep by Veronica Bond. I really enjoyed the first one. It's a cozy mystery series, but it's set in a castle in the United States. And the main character, I've already forgotten her name, Nora, she gets a job working for a theater troupe, and they do dinner theater, but it's mysteries, and it's very immersive uh mysteries, totally the kind of thing that I would want to do myself. So I'd like to start that because this is set in autumn, so I think it's the perfect time of year to read that. Oh, Elizabeth's here. Hi, Elizabeth. How are you doing? Annika says, it's fiction. Oh, it's a science thriller. Excellent. Pamela says, I lived through the Manson murders in the area they took place in, and everyone was scared to death during that time until they caught them. No kidding. Pamela, that is amazing. I would have been terrified if I was in that area. Oh my goodness, what a crazy, crazy time. That was just insanity. That whole thing, insane, crazy. I also have The Big Bow Mystery by Israel Zangwill. This is for Victober. It was actually written in the late 1800s. It's the first locked room mystery. So that's pretty cool. And I'm buddy reading this with Donna from Studio in the Library. And so I do need to get started on this one. But look at this cover, the expression on this lady's face. So creepy, right? Oh, Jana's here. Hi, Jana. I'm reading The Brutal Telling by Louise Penny. Excellent. I love it. I'm also doing a buddy read of Dream of Orchids by Phyllis Whitney. I am buddy reading this with Carolyn from Carolyn's Reading Ramblings. Has anyone ever read Phyllis Whitney? This is old school, I know, but I've never read Phyllis Whitney. And so I'm very curious. She writes romantic suspense. And I believe this one's from the mid 80s, maybe. Let me see. Oh, I keep missing the page. One second. Yeah, 85. So I will be diving into this one as well. Elizabeth says she's just about to finish my reread of Jane of Lantern Hill on audio. That's Montgomery, L.M. Montgomery, and starting A Lesson in Love and Murder by Rachel McMillan. Very good. A little historical mystery there. That's awesome, Elizabeth. I also have a nonfiction I've gotten out from my library that I've just started, but I'm really enjoying it. This is The Science of Murder, The Forensics of Agatha Christie by Carla Valentine. I've found this very interesting. And one thing that I love is that it's obvious from the very beginning that the author is a massive Agatha Christie fan. And so I like that. And then I'm also reading and loving A Dire Isle by R.V. Raman. This is a modern day mystery set in India. It's the second in the Harith Athriya mystery series. And this one, he is asked to do some investigations into a team of archaeologists. And so I love that there's some archaeology in this one as well. It turns out that this is the perfect time of year to read this too, because there is they're near an islet that has a past and a ghost, and so there's all these ghost stories surrounding it, so it kind of just feels like the perfect time of year for that. So those are what I will be choosing from to read during our reading sprints. BJ says, I enjoyed several Whitneys about 30 years ago. Yeah, I know I'm late to the game here with trying Phyllis Whitney. Pamela says, I read Phyllis Whitney back in the day and liked her. Annika says, ooh, The Science of Murder sounds great. Yeah, Annika, I think that you would like it very much. Yeah, we are both big Agatha Christie fans, that's for sure. Okay, so what do you guys think of doing a half-hour sprint we'll start at the quarter to the hour, and we'll read until quarter after the hour. If half-hour reading sprints work for you guys. Helen, love a good ghost story. Yeah, especially this time of year too. It's just the perfect time of year for that. So yeah, me too. So if you guys are into that, so in about 5 minutes, we will. Hey, Storm, how are you? Nice to see you here. That's fantastic. Okay, so We have a few minutes, so I'm going to start my story about shopping at the used bookstore and the thrift stores because this was hilarious. So one of the thrift stores in the town, and this is a really unique thrift store. It's called the Log House Thrift Store, and it's actually in a real log house. And so it's perfect. I mean, it's obviously one that was a house, and it was lived in, I'm guessing, by a family, but they've converted it now into a thrift store. It still has this upper mezzanine gallery area, which is really cool, and a huge stone fireplace that's obviously not used as a fireplace anymore. But it's a really cool used bookstore. And so we were not used bookstore, thrift store. And so we went there yesterday, and they have books in way in the back, tucked away, kind of hidden in this little area is where they keep their books. And that's always the first thing I go for, either the books or the puzzles, but they're close. But I laughed so hard because this time when I went, there was a sign up on the wall that said, "No clothing allowed in the library." What? What does that even mean? I was laughing so hard. I had to take a picture of it because what does that even mean? No clothing allowed in the library. First of all, they call their book section a library, which is hilarious. Secondly, I don't intend to do any kind of book hunting without my clothes, so that's hilarious. My guess is that because it's tucked away in the back, maybe people were taking clothes back there and like, trying to hide them on their person or in a bag in a way to steal them. What I'm hoping never happened is that people were actually trying on clothes back there because that would be a bit of a shock if you walked into the book section to find someone trying on clothes. So I don't know what it means, but that sign of no clothing allowed in the library was just too funny. And then as I was heading towards the front, I passed where they have their shoes, and there was another sign that said, uh 10 pairs of shoes per person per visit. What on earth made it necessary for them to post that sign? Who buys that many pairs of shoes? What is going on in this thrift store? Seriously. It was so funny. Okay, so Storm is reading The Stars Did Wander Darkling by Colin Malloy, a middle grade spooky story with quite the title, I have to say. That's interesting. Annika, yeah, there is 100% a story there for sure. Yeah, very funny. Okay, so in 2 minutes, we will start a half-hour reading sprint. And in when we come back from that, I will show you some of the books that I found yesterday. They must have encountered Imelda Marcos. That's the second time I have heard someone say that in relation to this story, but I don't know what that means. I don't know who Imelda Marcos is. Can someone tell me, Pamela, who that is? Because I'm sure it's funny, but I don't know who that is. Elizabeth says, that is funny. The shoe sign is probably because of resellers. Lots of resellers buy. Oh, yes, because the shoes are an insanely good price at this thrift store. So that makes complete sense, Elizabeth. Yeah. Okay. Helen says, I read a book many years ago with signs from around the world, real signs that are very funny. Yes, I've seen some of those. It's so funny because sometimes, honestly, like, there's a story behind that sign and you wish that you can find out what exactly that story is. Yeah. Anyway, very, very funny. Okay, so get ready. We are about 30 seconds away from starting a reading sprint. So let me get the banner up. And so we will read until quarter after, if that works for you guys. And I hope you have a great time reading or whatever it is that you choose to do. Oh, Pamela says she was the wife of the Filipino dictator and was known for her hundreds, thousands of shoes. Oh, it's related to the shoes. I get it. Okay. Got it. Mary says, I forget which country her husband was the leader, but she had a huge collection of shoes. Okay. Yeah. Everybody knows this except for me, apparently. Okay. Enjoy your reading, everybody. I will see you in half an hour. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a great time reading. Let me take that off. Okay, so how did it go for you? I read about 30 pages in my book, A Dire Isle. And one thing that I really love about this series is that they are in the style of golden age detective fiction, and I really do enjoy that. And one example is this. So he's gone actually out to the archaeological dig, and this is a map of the house where everybody connected to the dig is staying. And I love maps like that in my mysteries, and those were really common in golden age fiction as well. Denise has joined us. Hi, Denise. How are you? Reading Anne Perry's A Truth to Lie For. Interesting. I've read a lot of Anne Perry, but that title isn't familiar to me. Which series is that from, Denise? The Night Owl is here. Hello. Um, so I am really enjoying my read so far of A Dire Isle. And I can't decide if I'm going to stick with it for the next sprint or start another book. Ooh, Helen got a coffee and a hot water bottle and read a chapter. Perfect. That's so cozy, Helen. I love it. Book zealots are here. Hi. Just realized you were live. Hey, everyone. Nice to see you here. All right. So, as I wait for you guys to let me know how it went for you, I'll show you some of the books that I found at the used bookstore. Pamela says finished chapter 43 and got 20 minutes into chapter 44 of The Demon Awakens. It's an epic fantasy. Wow. I don't read fantasy really, other than The Lord of the Rings. I've read The Lord of the Rings, but that's about it. Jim's Books, Reading and Stuff. Hi, welcome here. Read a chapter of Bleak House and started another. I have not read Bleak House yet, but I have plans to read it next summer with the same group that I read The Count of Monte Cristo with this summer. And I'm very excited about that because it really does make the reading experience so much better to read it with other people and be able to talk about it with other people. So I'm very excited about that. BJ says, I'm really enjoying The Granger. Your recommendation, of course. Good. I'm glad, BJ. That's great. Libraries and Labradors said, listened to my audiobook as I fed my baby. That's perfect. Book Zealots. Janelle, did you just happen to go into the store again? Okay, so funny story. I hadn't intended to go out at all, and then my in-laws just were, let me know that they were heading out. And when they told me where they were going, I was like, "Ooh, can I come with you?" So it really was a last-minute trip to the thrift store and the bookstore. I swear. Annika says 1 chapter and 3 cups of rooibos tea. Nice. I had some tea as well. I love tea. Mine, I just had some Yorkshire tea. I love rooibos tea too. And I found some raspberry rooibos tea, which is so good. I love it. Mary says, I'm headed into the climax of the book. It was hard to put down. Yeah, I understand that, Mary. Pamela says it's a lot like Lord of the Rings with the evil being fought by a union of various humans and other creatures. Okay, that's cool. I mean, that's what I like about the Lord of the Rings is this epic journey and the fight between good and evil. That's great. Ooh, Jim's drinking rooibos as well. Popular tea this afternoon. Okay, so let's get into this. I found a Susanna Kearsley. I love Susanna Kearsley, and I'm trying to collect all of her books. So I was super excited when I found this one, Named of the Dragon. I don't know anything about it, but the main character, Lynette, wants to escape her hectic London job, and so she goes for a few days to the idyllic Pembrokeshire coast. And yeah, I do love me some Susanna Kearsley, so I was excited to find that. This is a true crime nonfiction that I'd never heard of before, but looked so interesting. It's called Mrs. Sherlock Holmes by Brad Ricca, and it was an Edgar Award finalist. The true story of New York City's greatest female detective and the 1917 missing girl case that captivated a nation. So that just sounded really, really interesting to me. Berna says, about to finish Helter Skelter. I only have 50 minutes left. The part I read had a fascinating discussion in court about the death penalty. If this crime did not deserve the death penalty, what crime did? Yeah, that would be a very interesting discussion, especially with that case. Helen says, yes, Yorkshire tea, my county. Shame I don't like tea. Oh, that's too bad. I love a cup of Yorkshire tea. I found this classic, The Absentee by Maria Edgeworth. This was written in 1812, and it says that it is one of her classic, brilliant comic novels on Irish life. And so I've never read anything by Maria Edgeworth, but I was excited to find that. My World in Books. Hi, I read a few pages of The Leighton Court Mystery by Anthony Berkeley. I think I learned this author because of you, Janelle. Hi, Tim. This is Tim, right? I hope that I got your name right. Or nope, maybe I'm confusing your name with somebody else. Anyways, Anthony Berkeley, yes, Golden Age author, classic. He was the founding member of the Detection Club. So that's awesome. That's great. And I've never actually read The Leighton Court Mystery, though. So cool. I hope you enjoy it. Another classic I found was Wessex Tales by Thomas Hardy. It's a collection of short stories by Thomas Hardy. And I just read The Mayor of Casterbridge by Thomas Hardy and really enjoyed it. So I thought that I would try some of his short stories. Oh, sorry. My name is Lena. I'm sorry. I got your name mixed up with someone else. Sorry about that. Berna says, very interesting that death penalty was forbidden only after a year in Los Angeles. They were lucky, I guess. Oh yeah, timing wise, it was the timing because the Manson case was in the mid to late 60s, I think. Storm made it to 29% in The Stars Did Wander Darkling by Colin Malloy. That is quite the name. Berna says, very interesting that death penalty was forbidden only a year after. Oh, they were lucky, I guess, because they could not execute it after it was forbidden. Yeah, that whole the time period when it happened, all of it is so fascinating. Oh, it's the Alina Standish series, Denise. I have not read that series yet, but I am very interested in checking that one out for sure. I found The Affair by C.P. Snow. This was written in the 50s, I want to say. Oh, no, 1960. And this is, let me see. It tells with impartial and friendly insight the details of a miscarriage of justice in the same Cambridge college, which served as a setting for the masters. So it's set at Cambridge, and C.P. Snow actually wrote a couple of mysteries that I'd like to get my hands on as well. This one's not a mystery, but I thought I would grab it while I had a chance. Don't worry. Oh, okay. Pamela says, most found that disgusting because they got the death penalty and the prohibition should not have been applied backward. Right. Yeah. Elizabeth says that she finished Jane of Lantern Hill, but didn't get far in Harringford and Watts yet. Annika says, I just read that there were people who were found not guilty because they murdered while sleepwalking. Can you imagine waking up to that? I find that hugely surprising that you can murder someone while you are sleepwalking. That just seems insane to me. But yeah, I can't even imagine waking up and finding out that, yeah. Berna says a mix up with the messages because of the connection happened. Okay. Yeah. All right. I found The General Danced at Dawn by George MacDonald Fraser. He's famous for the Flashman books, and this isn't one of them, though. This is, according to the Sunday Express, delightful, joyous, and very funny stories about life in a Highland regiment after the war. And so this is one that was published in 1970. And then I found this is a World War II cozy mystery, A Bicycle Built for Murder by Kate Kingsbury. This is the first in the Manor House mystery series. It's set in an English village during the Second World War. And I've read a few of this series. I've read the series completely out of order, but I was super excited to find this one because it's the first one in the series. And I really do enjoy these ones. The main character is Elizabeth Hartley Compton, and she's the lady of the manor house, and kind of, is the leader in her village during the war. All right, Mitzi, hi. Sorry I'm so late. Hope everyone is having a great weekend. Well, I'm having a fantastic weekend because I get to spend some of it with you guys. Mitzi, I hope you're having a good weekend too. All right, why don't I show you a couple more? Yes, Berna. Yes, I just love it when I could find the first book in a series. Yeah, definitely. 100%. This is another classic. This is Humphrey Clinker by Tobias Smollett. This is from 1771. It is a tale of high good humor. Squire Bramble's picaresque tour of the Britain of George III has enough eccentric characters and comic adventures for several lifetimes and a wealth of local color. And then this one I was excited to find. I had never heard of this one at all. The Adventures of Mr. Verdant Green, an Oxford undergraduate by Cuthbert Bede. Has anyone ever heard of this author? It is, according to the back, one of the earliest examples of the Oxford novel. Originally published in 3 parts in 1753 to 1757, it is the archetypal picaresque comedy of a duffer, though not exactly a muff. I don't know what that means, who goes up to Oxford in the late 1840s without ever having left his country home, even for school. And so, yeah, I love books that are set in Oxford, and I was interested definitely when I saw that. Okay, what do you guys think? On the half hour, we'll do another half hour reading sprint and go and read until the hour. I saw this one. I'd be curious to know if anyone has ever heard of this book or this author. My Friends, the Miss Boyds by Jane Duncan. I just was really attracted to this cover. Isn't that pretty? It was published in 1968, maybe. No, originally 1959. So, has anyone heard of Jane Duncan? My Friends, the Miss Boyds. It is set in Rossshire, so Scotland. This novel tells of a childhood in Reachfar, a croft in Rossshire, the story of a vanished world. Janet, the narrator, was brought up on this Highland farm by her stern old grandmother, her delicate, charming, and beloved mother, George, her uncle, and Tom, the hired hand. So yeah, I just thought that looked unique anyway. Annika says, don't know the author. The cover looks great though. Yeah, I agree. Mary says, you have had some great covers today. Yeah. All right, Mitzi, loved that cover on the Miss Boyd's book. Never heard of it, but reminds me of a Miss Reed book. Yeah, you know what, Mitzi? That's exactly what I thought when I found it. Yeah, exactly. Elizabeth says, Mitzi, I thought the same, that it looks like a Miss Reed book. Hi, Sandra. I'm here. We'll be ducking out now. I'm in NL. I'm not sure where that is. And meeting friends for supper. I enjoyed reading Under the Greenwood Tree by Thomas Hardy for the first sprint, though. Enjoy. I read that a couple years ago. Yeah, I'm glad that you are enjoying that. That's a nice short Thomas Hardy. Helen says, you love your Oxford books. I do. I'm a sucker for anything set in Oxford. She says, I'm drawn to anything set in Cornwall or Scotland mainly. I try to get over there when I can. Yes, I love Scotland and Cornwall as a setting as well. Definitely. Okay, let's do our reading sprints. Um, oh, Netherlands. Thanks. Thanks, Helen. All right, so let's get this set up to go. Enjoy your next half hour, whatever you choose to do, reading or whatever. Oh, Newfoundland. Oh, that's great. Yay, another Canadian. I love it. Okay, enjoy your reading, everybody. Welcome back, everybody. I hope you had a great time reading or whatever you chose to do during that last sprint. Denise is reading Fiona Leach's Murder Ahoy, a Bella Tyson mystery. I just read my first Fiona Leach. I'm not sure how to say her last name. Not that long ago. That's cool, Denise. BJ says, I'm enjoying Darren Rising. It's a fantasy from the late 70s by Catherine Kurtz. She's one of the early female fantasy authors. As the world gets worse, I find myself reading more fantasy. Yes, I don't think anyone can question that decision, BJ. Definitely. During this last sprint, I read from Dream of Orchids by Phyllis Whitney. This one is about a girl named Lauren who owns a bookstore on Long Island, and this man comes in who works with her father, who is a famous author, but she's been estranged from. He left her mother years before when she was young, and he just ditched them. He never contacted her or kept up a relationship with her. And he has a new family down in Key West in Florida. And this man, Marcus, wants her to come down and see her father and help. There's something going on in the house. And so, yeah, that's what I read from during the reading sprints. I also made myself a cup. I made myself some tea. Let me show you my pot. I love this. And it has a strainer on the inside, which is fantastic for loose leaf tea. So I made myself some passion fruit black tea. I'm very excited. That's still steeping. Mitzi says, I have that Phyllis Whitney. I need to get to that one. Mitzi, have you read Phyllis Whitney before? I'm currently buddy reading this one. And so, yeah, that's very fun. Hi, Jess. You are not too late. We've done two sprints, but there are more to come. So you are not too late at all. Mitzi says, sounds kind of like the one I just read, though. Actress mother who never met her, and she meets her when her father dies. Listen for the whisperer. Ooh. Yeah, who knows? I don't know where this is going. She's just kind of on her way to Key West at this point in the story. So we will see. I'm not even entirely sure what's, happening. But yeah, so far so good. Helen, I know what you mean, BJ. Cozy mysteries are my comfort reads. Another chapter read and a hot chocolate. Oh, yummy. Helen, you are so cozy right now. You've got your hot chocolate and a hot water bottle. Can I come over to your house? It sounds so cozy. Berna says, enjoy your tea. Here it is a bit late in the evening to drink tea or coffee. Yeah, that's too bad. Do you drink herbal tea, Berna? I love herbal tea in the evening. I'm a big, big fan. Okay. So you may not be shocked to learn that I didn't show you all the books that I got at the thrift stores yesterday. I've got a few more to show you. Jess says, ooh, now I'm going to make me a hot chocolate. Yeah, exactly, right? Oh my goodness, I just got some raspberry hot chocolate. I love raspberry hot chocolate. So maybe I will have some of that this evening. Oh, and cozy up. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm very much looking forward to that. Ariane says, oh, that's it. I'm getting a hot chocolate too. Oh, perfect. Helen, you are welcome to come over. Janelle, it might take you a while though. Yeah, a few hours, I guess. BJ, it's such fun to have reading friends from several countries, isn't it? I love that. I love that so much. Okay, I was so excited to find this is The Scarlet Pimpernel by the Baroness Orczy. I love this book so much, and I do already have a copy, but I could not pass up this edition. This is published by the Mussin Book Company in 1943. So I just had to have that on my shelves. Definitely. Let's see. Berna says it is a good idea. I will make apple tea in the next sprint. Ooh, that sounds yummy. Donna. Hi, Donna. How are you? Just joining in. I'm so glad that you're here. We've done a couple sprints, but there are definitely more to come. So I am glad that you are here, Donna. And just for you, I have, and I think I'm going to start this in my next sprint. I will be reading The Big Bow Mystery. So perfect. Mitzi says apple tea sounds great. Yeah, doesn't it? Okay, this one cracked me up when I saw this one. Biblioholism, The Literary Addiction by Tom Rabb. And there's a definition on the bottom here. It says, book of books, the habitual longing to purchase, read, store, admire, and consume books in excess. So this sounds like the perfect book for me. It was written in, let me see, 1991. And on the back, it says, a hilarious guide for book lovers that brings book addiction out of the closet. Have you ever awakened the morning after a book buying spree, unable to remember how many you bought or how much you spent? Have you ever been reprimanded or fired for reading on the job? Have you ever purchased or rented additional living space just for your books? You are not alone. Your complete recovery awaits you. Just buy one more book. Doesn't that sound fantastic? Yeah. Libraries and Labradors said, I love the Scarlet Pimpernel movie. I didn't know there was a book. Yes, she wrote it in the early 1900s, and the book is just so fantastic. Yes, it is your classic adventure story. I'm sure people are familiar with the story of the Scarlet Pimpernel, but the reason why I love it so much is that the main character is actually Marguerite, and you follow her and her story, and it's a romance as much as an adventure, because she desperately wants to respect her husband and have her husband love her back, and it's their story, and oh my goodness, I love it so much. It's so good. Helen, I like the sound of raspberry hot chocolate. Oh, the smell is amazing, and it just tastes so good. And like I says, it sounds delicious. Yeah. Donna, I will too then. The Big Bow Mystery. Perfect. Oh, I forgot to take the reading sprint banner off. Sorry. Okay. Denise says, I am going to check out the Scarlet Pimpernel. You need to. It is such a good story. It's so good. Is this a biblioholism meeting? Yes, it is. It is. Sold. Perfect. Helen says, I know someone who is disciplined for reading at work. It wasn't me. I can 100% understand that. I always had a book with me to read on breaks when I worked outside the house, but I never did let it affect my job itself. Yeah, but I can understand the temptation. Yes, BJ, you are not alone. Hi, my name is BJ and I'm a bibliomaniac. Yeah, me too. Mary says, all this tea talk, I'm going to have glazed lemon loaf from Tazo. Ooh, that sounds delicious. Yummy. I love some good lemon tea. I found The Double Comfort Safari Club by Alexander McCall Smith. This is book number 11 in the Number One Ladies Detective Agency series. Can I just say, I wish that more publishers would do this for series. They've got the number of the book in the series right on the spine, and I find that so convenient. Why don't more series do that? I wish that they would. I found a Georges Simenon, The Grand Banks Cafe. This is one from 1931. I love a Maigret. Although, yes, this one is a Maigret. And this, I thought this was an interesting nonfiction, The Great Influenza by John M. Barry, the epic story of the deadliest plague in history. So this one is about the Spanish flu. And I find that, yeah, period of history very interesting. I'm a huge fan of history. I found a Phyllis Whitney Silver Sword, and this is one that is set in, she's originally from Maui, and she gets taken to San Francisco by her grandmother, and I believe she goes back to Hawaii. And so I thought the setting for that sounded really interesting. Mitzi, yes, numbers on the spine, so needed. Uh-huh. Jess, have you read any Mabel Seeley books? She was a mystery writer. Yes, I have read The Chuckling Finger. Mabel Seeley wrote mysteries in the 40s. She's an American mystery writer, and I think she deserves more attention. I actually have one or two more of her books that I found to read. And yeah, I think she deserves more attention for sure. Helen says, yes, numbers on the book. Yeah. Libraries and Labradors. I got accused of being antisocial at work because I would close myself off in an empty office to read for lunch instead of joining the gossips and their toxic chatter. Sorry, not sorry. 100%. Yes, that was me too. That was totally me. BJ says yes for numbers on the spine. Yeah. Annika, yes, it's often ridiculously hard to find the order of the series and which one you're holding. I'm always Googling while book shopping. Yeah, definitely. All right, two more, and I swear I am done. I also found The Saturday Big Tent Wedding Party in the same series by Alexander McCall Smith. One thing I find interesting is that these hardcover, and maybe it's because they're the newer ones, I don't know, don't have the number on the spine. So I don't like that so much, but I got this one at the thrift store, so what can you do about it? This one is a newer one in the series. So, oh no, it's not necessarily. This is from 2011. So maybe it's just the trade paperbacks that have the number on the side. Yeah, Jess says that's the book I have, The Chuckling Fingers. That's the one I'm reading today. Oh, that's cool, Jess. That's awesome. I loved that one. That was good. Elizabeth says, I think publishers don't put the number on the spines and covers because they don't want people to get hung up on the numbers. They may think that the higher numbers would scare away new readers. Okay, I can see that, but I still think it's very convenient. Berna says, I read a couple Phyllis A. Whitney books belonging to my mom, liked one, but found the other one meh. Yeah, I can see that. Elizabeth, although I wish there were numbers too. Helen, that's true. Lizzie, the publishers want to sell their new releases. Yeah, definitely. And then one more nonfiction. I found this one, Scotland. Sorry, well, it might be nonfiction, but there's also some fiction. An anthology compiled by Paul Harris. First of all, can we just talk about this cover, because this is beautiful. And look at this. I love it when books do this, when the cover wraps around front to back. Okay, so this is an anthology with works by Sir Walter Scott, Robert Burns, Robert Louis Stevenson, as well as some more modern day writers. Let's see. And then, so in the contents, it's got, yeah, writings from Edinburgh, Glasgow, the Lowlands, the Highlands and the Islands, the Granite City and the Golden Hairst, the Sabbath, of rebellions past and present, of daily bread and the water of life, etc. And so, yeah, I just thought this was a cool thing to have in my collection. And there's no pictures inside. It's all just the writings, although it looks like there's maybe something on hang on. Oh yeah, just at the chapters. So that's it. That's what I found in the used bookstore and the thrift stores yesterday. Helen, I love wraparound covers too. Yeah. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. Um, we are almost at quarter past, so let's do another reading sprint. I am going to read The Big Bow Mystery by Israel Zangwill, published in the 1800s, 1860. Hang on. Late, yeah, 1895. Sorry, it was later than I thought. And it's believed that this is the first locked room mystery. And so I'm very excited to get into that. And I have to show again this cover because look at her face. Oh, so creepy. So yes, I am going to get into this. It is set in London, in the Bow district of London. And yeah, I'm very excited. So let's do another half-hour reading sprint. And so we will read until 1:45. Sorry, I had to think about that for a second. Yes, we will read until 1:45 the hour. All right, everybody. That should be a meme. It totally should. When someone tells me they don't read. Oh, I love it. That's awesome. Okay, enjoy your reading, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I hope you had a great time reading during those last sprints. Annie says, I'm reading Gothic short stories by different authors today, reading Seaton's Aunt by Walter de la Mare now. Ooh, I love some Gothic short stories. That sounds great. Donna says, wow, right away, King Fog is mentioned in the second sentence of the Big Bow Mystery, and in December, one of the worst months from our London fog book. Yes. So I wanted to talk about this. So Donna and buddy read a book called London Fog. It was a nonfiction history book about the fogs in London. And what I loved about it was rather than get scientific, she connected it to literature and art. And I thought that was so fascinating. And one of the books that she mentioned in that book is this one, The Big Bow Mystery by Israel Zangwill. He starts it with an introduction of murders and mysteries, and I just really loved he doesn't take himself too seriously. So in this introduction he says, as this little book was written some 4 years ago, I feel able to review it without prejudice. A new book just hot from the brain is naturally apt to appear faulty to its begetter, but an old book has got into proper perspective and may be praised by him without fear or favor. The Big Bow Mystery seems to me an excellent murder story, as murder stories go, for while as sensational as the most of them, it contains more humor and character creation than the best. Indeed, the humor is too abundant. Mysteries should be sedate and sober. There should be a pervasive atmosphere of horror and awe, such as Poe manages to create. Humor is out of tone. It would be more artistic to preserve a somber tone throughout. But I was a realist in those days, and in real life, mysteries occur to real persons with their individual humors, and mysterious circumstances are apt to be complicated by comic. I love that he doesn't take himself too seriously and that he is reviewing his own mystery and decided that it's pretty good. I think that's hilarious. Also, yeah, the fog mentioned right at the beginning. I love when the London fog is mentioned in books because it adds such atmosphere to the stories. On a memorable morning of early December, London opened its eyes on a frigid gray mist. There are mornings when King Fog masses his molecules of carbon in serried squadrons in the city, while he scatters them tenuously in the suburbs, so that your morning train may bear you from twilight to darkness. But today, the enemy's maneuvering was more monotonous. From Bow even unto Hammersmith there draggled a dull, wretched vapor, like the wraith of an impecunious suicide come into a fortune immediately after the fatal deed. The barometers and thermometers had sympathetically shared its depression, and their spirits, when they had any, were low. The cold cut like a many-bladed knife. And then a little bit later, um, this woman in the story, Mrs. Drabdump, best name ever. She has lodgers in her house, and she is trying to wake one of her lodgers, and she can't wake him up, and she's worried that there's something wrong, and his door is locked. And so she goes across the street to get this retired detective, and he comes to see if he can wake the guy up. And it says the gray mist had followed them through the street door and hovered about the staircase, charging the air with a moist sepulchral odor. So yeah, I'm loving it. I'm loving it so far. BJ said, Janelle, did you know that Phyllis Whitney lived to be 105? She was still publishing in her 90s. No, I did not know that. 105. Wow. Mitzi says, wow, BJ, I didn't know that about her. I know she wrote a lot of books. Yeah, that's amazing. Time flow. Yeah. Oh, time flies. Yeah, it certainly does. Helen says, read another chapter. I've now got hot buttered toast and it has started raining to add to the cozy feeling. Oh my goodness, Helen. You're in the perfect cozy situation over there with the rain and your hot buttered toast and your hot chocolate and your hot water bottle. Oh my goodness. Perfection. Alice. Hi, Alice. Trying to get closer to the end of the Count of Monte Cristo. It's all very exciting at the moment. Yes, isn't it? I loved that book. I'm very curious to hear your final thoughts when you are done The Count of Monte Cristo. Missy says, way to go, Alice. I plan on reading The Count of Monte Cristo next year, but I'm going to take it slow, so it may be a decade before I finish. It's a huge book, Mitzi. I took 2.5 months to read it, and that was a good length of time for a book that big, because you don't want to take too long and forget the story. It's a quick read because there's a lot of action, so that certainly helps too. Annika says one of Miss Seaton's books starts in the fog, and although it wasn't the best book, the fog scene was worth it. So atmospheric. Okay, which Miss Seaton book is that, Annika? I'm curious. I like Miss Seaton. Helen says, I live in a town, but the local countryside gets a lot of morning mist and fog. Yeah, awesome. That's great. I love that. Yeah, there is just something very atmospheric about the fog. Although I have to say, the London fog in particular is something I'm glad I didn't live through, because it wasn't just fog; it was this combination of fog and smoke that was not good for you. I don't know how people lived through it. Like, it was like this brown yellowish color. Ugh, awful. Yeah. Okay, so I am up for another reading sprint. If you guys are up for another reading sprint, I've read a different book each time, and that's been actually really fun. So I think this time around, I'm going to start Castle Deadly, Castle Deep by Veronica Bond, a cozy mystery set in the autumn. I think it's the perfect time of year to get started on that. BJ says, almost finished with The Granger, so I started the second Adelia mystery by Ariana Franklin, The Serpent's Tale. Hope it's half as good as The Mistress of the Art of Death. I love that series, BJ. Ariana Franklin wrote the series, The Mistress of the Art of Death series. I forget specifically when it's set, but I think it's the 1400s. And the main character is this woman who was trained in Europe. She has medical training, and she is now in England, where women are not allowed to be medically trained. And so it's just such a fascinating time period. And the books are very well written. I really do enjoy that series a lot. Jana says, sunshine and 90 degrees here, not cozy at all. That's okay. I also like the sunshine. Berna says, I came to the acknowledgements part in Helter Skelter, but I will stop because it is midnight here and there is still plenty to read. We'll finish it tomorrow. Yeah. It's interesting that the acknowledgement section is so long. Does it include the notes and stuff? I'm curious about that, Berna. Alice says, thanks, Mitzi and Janelle. It will be 3 months at the end of this month, and that was a good amount of time to read it over. Yeah, exactly. I read it in 2.5 to 3 months is a great amount of time. Donna says, oh, I have Castle Deadly, Castle Deep too. We'll join you. Perfect. Donna, I love it when we buddy read, but it's even more fun when we're actually reading the same book at the same time. Jackie, hi, nice to see you, Jackie. I'm reading The Jewish Pirates of the Caribbean by Edward Kritzler. So glad I caught the reading sprints. Wow, there is a lot to unpack in that title. I'm assuming, is this a fiction or is this nonfiction? Please tell me more. I am very intrigued. Annika says, oh, sorry, I meant Miss Silver. Oh, it's a Miss Silver book, Lady's Bane. That's interesting. I'm going to have to make a note of that because I'm keeping a list of books that have fog as a part of the story. So hang on a second. I have to find my pen now and make a note. What did I do with my pen? All right, 1 second. Lady's Bane, Patricia Wentworth. And I better make a note so I don't forget fog. Okay, thank you, Annika. That's fantastic. All right, Jackie, it is nonfiction. Very good so far. That sounds fascinating, Jackie. So interesting. That's been great fun today, hasn't it, Donna? I love it. So if you guys are up for another reading sprint, let's do another half hour on the hour. And I think that would be great. Helen says, I usually read books quickly, but some books need to be read slowly. I agree with that 100%. I do usually read books very fast, but sometimes the book deserves a slower read, definitely. Annie says, the study of fog sounds so interesting. I like to paint and I'm learning about painting foggy and misty landscapes. Cool. That sounds awesome. There was some amazing pictures of art, paintings, and drawings in this book that we read. And the way that they painted or drew the fog was so fascinating. Berna, sorry, I misread. I guess I was sleeping already. It is afterward and it summarizes what happened in the following 25 years. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. And you know what? That's completely understandable. If it's midnight over there, then it's completely understandable that you're a little bit sleepy. Donna says, I am so glad you are keeping track of fog stories. We'll make a great video in the future tied in with London fog. That is 100% the idea, Donna. Annika says that she learned a lot from Diane Mies on YouTube. I'm assuming that's related to painting. Annika does some painting as well. And Annika, the paintings that you've shared with us on your videos are beautiful. Helen says, a book with fog in the story, The Woman in Black. I love it. A real classic. You've probably read it. I have not read it, but that sounds so familiar to me. The Woman in Black is, you're going to have to remind me of the author of that one because I'm completely blanking on that one, but I think that I know which one you're talking about. The Woman in Black. Is that Shirley Jackson? Why am I thinking Shirley Jackson? Yeah. Okay. I've made a note of that one too. Thank you, Helen. Annika's up for another sprint. Perfect. Yes. Yeah, that's great. Mitzi says, I love The Woman in Black. Susan Hill. Yes, Susan Hill. Not Shirley Jackson. Susan Hill. I am trying to think if I've read that or not. I'm going to have to double check. If I have, it would have been years ago. And I'm not really remembering, but thank you, everyone. Jess says, I'm reading that one this weekend as well, The Woman in Black. Perfect. I love that. I love that when this happens, when when we discover other people who are reading the same books as we are. Berna says it's a great book. Helen, yes, it's Susan Hill. Yeah, I'm going to have to double check that if I've read it or not. All right. So let us do another reading sprint here in a couple minutes. And I will start Castle Deadly, Castle Deep, Dinner and a Murder Mystery. Autumn has arrived at Castle Dark, and Nora Blake has settled into her role as an actor in Derek Corby's Castle Murder Mystery Troupe. She is troubled, however, by the setting of Derek's fall mystery, the Castle Catacombs. Oh, perfect. Yes, they are part of a set, the skeletons and cobwebs mere props, but Nora feels uneasy in the shadowy passages beneath Castle Dark. When a man is killed during one of their first shows, the eerie catacombs become a place of terror. Joined by her castle companions, Nora attempts to find a motive for the murder. Ooh, yes, please. That is sounding perfect for this time of year. Okay, I just had to grab myself a bookmark. I didn't have a bookmark yet for this one. Okay, so we will read for half an hour. And yes, Jess, you can see the cover. Unfortunately, my library stickers are covering the title, Castle Deadly, Castle Deep, and it's Veronica Bond is the author. It's the second one in the series. The first one was called, oh yes, Death in Castle Dark. Okay, So enjoy your reading sprints, everybody, and we will read until half past. Enjoy. Hello. So, how did your reading go? I enjoyed. I read about 30 pages of Castle Deadly, Castle Deep, the first three chapters. And yeah, so far so good. I'm being reminded of the characters from the first book, and we're just kind of just slowly getting into the story. So yeah, that was good. Jess says, I have the first one on my TBR. Perfect. Yeah, they're a nice cozy mystery. Helen says, I like fog in books, very atmospheric, but my favorite is a storm. Ooh, yeah, I like that too. I really do. And as far as mysteries go, I love it when there's a snowstorm and everybody gets um stormed in and they have to stay where they are. I think that's great. BJ says time period for the Franklin series. Edward II was king, so I think 12th century. Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right, BJ. That sounds right. Okay, how did it go, everybody? Donna, what were your thoughts on the beginning of Castle Deadly, Castle Deep? And what did everybody else read or do during those sprints? Yeah, I am thinking about what to do for the rest of my afternoon. To be perfectly honest, I will probably just keep reading. I'm thinking I'm loving this cozy atmosphere that we have created for this reading sprint, and especially what Helen was talking about. So I'm thinking that I will have some soup for supper because that is a nice cozy meal, and I'm thinking I might start a puzzle tonight. I do love a good jigsaw puzzle. Is there anybody else here who likes to do jigsaw puzzles? I have some great autumn ones, and so I might do a jigsaw puzzle. And then I like to have a TV show or something on in the background that I listen to while I do the puzzle. So I'm thinking that's what I'm going to do tonight. Jackie says, I had no idea how much friction there was between Spain and England during the 1600s. Very interesting to read about a different time period. Yes, that's fascinating. Yeah, I agree. I love history. I love reading history books. And that one that you have, Jackie, sounds so interesting. I'm going to have to see if my library has it. Annika says, I forgot that I was reading, so it went well. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. I love it when that happens. Jana says, I like to do puzzles. Yeah, that's cool. Jana, what kind of puzzles do you like to do? Mary says, I love puzzles and haven't started one in a while. Oh, that's cool. Mary, what kind of puzzles do you like doing? I prefer landscape or building kind of puzzles. That's kind of my wheelhouse. That's what I really like. So, um, castles or houses or the mountains or, that kind of thing. BJ also loves puzzles. Oh, this is great. You know what? You are my people. We love reading and we love puzzles. That's great. Annika says, I'm going to read a little more in bed and then sleep. That sounds good, Annika. Jackie says, I do love puzzles. I should get one going as well. If your library does not have it, let me know and I can send this one to you when I'm done. I got it while on a cruise. Oh, that's cool, Jackie. Okay. So just so that I don't forget, can you put the name of the book and the author in the comments, and I will write it down so that I can double check if our library has it. Donna says, I like that CD. What? CD takes place at this time of year. Oh, sorry, Castle Castle Deadly, Castle Dark. I got it. Sometimes I'm a little slow on the uptake. And another book within a book, Mary Stewart's Madam Will You Talk? Oh, yes. Now, I've read a number of Mary Stewart's and I love Mary Stewart, but I don't think I've read Madam Will You Talk yet. Also love being reintroduced to the dog Hamlet and the Bronte kitten. Oh, yes. So in the first book, the main character Nora inherits three kittens and they're gray, and so she names them after the Bronte sisters, which is awesome. So that is something that I've loved in this series, that there is this connection to books and reading. There's a little library in the castle that's right by Nora's room, and so she's often in there looking for books. I like that. Mitzi likes landscape puzzles too, and yes, seasonal ones. Yeah. Mary, I like landscape too, and Disney with Thomas Kincaid. All right, cool. Jana says, I like inside interiors with books. Ooh, yeah, that sounds good too, actually. That sounds great. Mom says, I'm halfway through the Chilbury Ladies Choir now. Wouldn't a few episodes of Corner Gas be good tonight? Maybe. We'll see. I'm a little bit dopey, so yeah. But we'll do Corner Gas very soon. That was something else that I got at the thrift stores yesterday. I got season 2 of Corner Gas. Now, Corner Gas is a Canadian sitcom. It's a sitcom that's set here in Saskatchewan on the prairies, and it's very funny. And it also perfectly shows small town prairie life. It is such a great show. It's very, very funny. Helen says, it's late for you there, Annika. We're not far behind. Yes, it is evening for you guys over in England and in Europe. Jackie says, Jewish Pirates of the Caribbean by Edward Kritzler. Thank you, Jackie. I'm going to write that down now. Edward Kritzler. Thank you. All right. BJ says, I like landscapes, seasonal, and geometric ones. Oh, that's interesting. Cool. Donna says, I have a pot-bound aloe vera that needs repotting. The one I did last week had 31 babies. Wow. My grandma had an aloe vera plant, and I remember whenever I was a kid, if I burnt myself, then grandma would she would cut off a bit of her aloe vera and we would open it up and I would rub that on the burn. It's perfect. That's awesome. All right. Well, my lovelies, I think I am going to say goodbye. This has been loads and loads of fun. I have loved reading with you. I have loved chatting with you. And I think that I am going to sign off and see what I want to do for the rest of my afternoon. I hope you guys have a great day, whatever time it is. For those of you that it's the evening, I hope you guys have a great evening and a great sleep tonight. And for those of you who, like me, it's the afternoon, I hope you really just have a great day and a great rest of your weekend. Read some good books. And yeah, Mitzi says, oh, good. I'm glad you had a good time. I was going to take a quick look at this biblioholism. I don't know why I have such a hard time saying that word. I was going to take a look at this book and see if there was anything funny off the cuff in here. So let's see. First of all, there's illustrations in here, which is great. Confessions of a Biblioholic, Anatomy of an Addiction, Physical Symptoms, Living Environment, Quality of Life, the Later Stages. Ooh, Taking the Test. Are you a biblioholic? Ooh, maybe I should quickly go to that chapter before I say goodbye. Because I think that we should check. When you go to a bookstore with a friend, are you usually carrying more books when you leave than your friend is? Yes. Do you wake up the morning after unable to remember how many books you bought or how much you spent on them? Sometimes, yes. Do you inexplicably yank down a volume from the store shelves, open it, and shove your nose deeply into the binding, hungrily inhaling the ink and paper smells? I will confess that yes, I have smelt books in the store before. Have you ever bought the same book twice without knowing it? Yes. When you go to a bookstore after work, thus arriving home late at night, do you lie about where you have been, telling your spouse you were at a bar? No, because my spouse would never believe that. He would know that I've been to a bookstore. At Christmas time, do you buy your loved ones books that you want to read? Yes, I have done that. Have you ever given up on a book before you started it? Mm, no, I'll always start it and give it a whirl. Are you unable to walk through a mall without stopping at a bookstore? Yes. Do you have a personal library on the entire subject, none of which you have read? Yes, I have so many unread books on my shelves. Do you ever buy books simply because they were on sale? Yes. Have you ever bought a book because you liked the cover design? Yes. When at a garage sale, is the first thing you look at the books? Yes. Have you ever been fired from a job or reprimanded for reading? No. Have you and your immediate family ever discussed your book buying and reading habits? Yes. When you watch TV, do you always have a book in your lap for slow parts and commercials? That's awesome. I don't think so, but that's awesome. Do you watch television sports with the sound off? Does panic set in when you find yourself in a barber's chair or under a hair dryer with nothing to read? Yes. And maybe not that specific situation, but yes, if I'm out and about and I've forgotten a book, I usually have a book in my bag. But if I've forgotten one, then yes, I get panicky. Have you ever become suddenly deeply interested in an obscure topic and immediately bought six or more books on that topic? I haven't bought books, but I have done that with library books. I have gotten, a whole bunch of books from the library on that topic. Do you ever lie about how many books you've bought? No. Do you devise grand and devious strategies for getting your books into the house to avoid your spouse's or family's scrutiny? No. Has your book buying ever embarrassed your family or friends? I don't know. When a stranger walks into your house or apartment, are his or her first words usually a comment about your books? Yes. If someone asks you for a reading list of the 20 most influential books you've ever read, do you happen to have such a list on your person? No. Do you have at least 6 books next to your bed? Yes. When a bookstore clerk has been unable to locate a certain book in the stacks, have you ever been able to find that book? Embarrassingly, yes, I have. Okay, so it is definitely confirmed this is the book for me. All right. Donna says, I am so glad I could participate this afternoon. Thank you for having us into your home today. You are very welcome. Mitzi, yes. See if you can find something to help us with our habit. Now that we know we have a habit, I wonder if they are going to offer anything to help. Let's see. Oh, there is a chapter called The Cure: Total Abstinence, Find Something Else to Love, Marriage, Bookworms, and Buy Till It Hurts. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if I want to be cured. Annie says, thank you. I'm going to look for the fog book online tonight. Yes, that one was by Claire. Shoot, what was it called? Donna, do you remember her name? Claire somebody. Shoot. Yes, Annika, I had a blast too. Annie says, yes, for commercials. I always have a book when I watch TV. Oh, that's awesome, Annie. Donna says, I was caught reading The Hound of the Baskervilles when I was in choir, not singing at the time, but seated in the church loft. I was around 10 years old, had it tucked in my missile. That is perfect, Donna. That is perfect. Elizabeth says that was a hilarious questionnaire. Yes, it was. And I'm going to guess, Elizabeth, that your answers were quite often yes, weren't they? And who would want a cure? That's right. That's right. Okay, everybody, that was very fun. But now I am definitely going to say good night, good afternoon. Have a fantastic weekend. Thanks for joining me. This was so much fun. I will definitely be doing this again next month. So towards the end of the month, look for another Reading Sprints live stream from me. And yeah, have a great weekend, everybody. Okay, bye.